For centuries, humans have trembled before the unseen forces of evil. We call them demons, spirits, jinn. These entities haunt our stories and nightmares. They possess the innocent and spread chaos in their wake. But what if these ancient fears have a more earthly explanation? What if the demons of old are actually the parasites we know today? Modern science reveals a world teeming with microscopic life. Some of these creatures, the parasites, live within us. They feed on our bodies and alter our behavior. Could ancient cultures, observing the strange and debilitating effects of parasites, have interpreted them as demonic possessions? This essay will explore the compelling connections between ancient beliefs about demons and the modern science of parasitology. We will journey back in time to ancient Egypt, a civilization obsessed with the spirit world, and uncover the surprising links between their mythology and the very real threat of parasites. Prepare to see the demons of the past in a new light. Prepare to confront the possibility that the monsters we fear most are not figments of our imagination, but rather ancient enemies that have plagued humanity since the dawn of time. Ancient Egypt, a land of pharaohs and pyramids, was also a land haunted by spirits. The grandeur of its monuments and the mysteries of its tombs have fascinated people for centuries. The Egyptians believed in a vast pantheon of gods and demons, each with its own powers and domain. These deities were integral to their understanding of the world and the forces that shaped their lives. Among the most feared of these entities were the serpent demons, creatures of chaos and destruction. These malevolent beings were thought to lurk in the shadows, waiting to strike at the unwary. These serpentine beings, often depicted with fangs and glowing eyes, were believed to cause disease, madness, and even death. Their terrifying appearance and association with illness made them a powerful symbol of fear. Why were serpents so closely associated with evil in ancient Egypt? The answer may lie in the natural world that surrounded them. The answer may lie in the prevalence of parasitic worms in the region. These parasites were a constant threat to the health and well-being of the Egyptian people. The Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, was also home to a variety of parasites, including schistosomes and guinea worms. The river, while providing sustenance and fertility, also harbored dangers that were invisible to the naked eye. These parasites could infect humans, causing a range of debilitating symptoms. The impact of these infections on daily life was profound, affecting both the physical and mental health of the population. Schistosomiasis, for example, can lead to liver damage, kidney failure, and even death. The disease was a silent killer, slowly destroying the body from within. Guinea worm infection, on the other hand, results in excruciating pain as the worm emerges from the skin. The sight of these worms wriggling out of the flesh must have been horrifying, reinforcing the association between serpents and suffering. Is it a coincidence that the ancient Egyptians, living in a land plagued by parasitic worms, imagined their demons in the form of serpents? Or was there a deeper connection between their mythology and their environment? Or could it be that these ancient people, through careful observation, recognized the connection between these serpentine creatures and the suffering they inflicted upon humanity? Their art and writings suggest a sophisticated understanding of the natural world. The evidence suggests that the ancient Egyptians, far from being primitive and superstitious, were keen observers of the natural world, and that their mythology was deeply intertwined with their understanding of the very real threats posed by parasites. Their beliefs and practices were a reflection of their environment, a testament to their resilience and ingenuity in the face of adversity. Let us delve deeper into the Egyptian pantheon, a realm filled with gods and goddesses who governed every aspect of life and death. Among these deities, one serpent demon stands out in particular, Apep, a figure shrouded in mystery and fear. Apep, also known as Apophis, was the embodiment of chaos and destruction, a force that ancient Egyptians believed could unravel the order of the cosmos. This colossal serpent, depicted as long as a city and covered in scales, dwelled in the underworld. Each night it sought to devour the sun god Ra, who journeyed through the underworld to bring dawn to the world. Apep was not merely a monster, he was a force of nature, a primordial entity that threatened the very fabric of existence. His presence was a constant reminder of the thin line between order and chaos. APEP's association with darkness and the underworld mirrors the life cycle of many parasitic worms, which thrive in hidden, shadowy places. These creatures often spend part of their lives in the soil or water, hidden from view, waiting for the right moment to emerge. They emerge from these dark places to infect their hosts, causing disease and suffering. Much like APEP's nightly attempts to consume Ra and plunge the world into darkness. APEP's attempts to devour Ra, the source of light and life, can be seen as a metaphorical representation of the way parasites drain the vitality of their hosts, sapping their strength and life force. Moreover, APEP was often depicted with a writhing mass of serpents, an army of darkness that accompanied him on his nightly assaults on Ra. This imagery is strikingly similar to the way parasitic worms can infest a host, multiplying and spreading their influence. This imagery evokes the reality of parasitic infection, where a single worm can multiply within the host's body, producing countless offspring that continue the cycle of infection and suffering. APEP and his serpentine horde therefore become more than just mythological figures. They become powerful symbols of the very real threat posed by parasites to the health and well-being of humanity. The ancient Egyptians' fear of APEP reflects a deep understanding of the dangers lurking in the natural world, dangers that continue to challenge us to this day. Section 4, From Myth to Microscope, Modern Science Unmasks the Demons. The ancient Egyptians, lacking the tools of modern science, could only interpret the effects of parasites through the lens of their mythology. They observed the symptoms and suffering caused by these unseen invaders and, without the means to see or understand them, turned to their rich tapestry of myths and legends for explanations. They personified these unseen enemies as demons and spirits, ascribing to them malicious intent and supernatural powers. These interpretations were deeply rooted in their culture and religious beliefs, providing a framework to understand the inexplicable and often terrifying phenomena they witnessed. Today, armed with microscopes and sophisticated laboratory techniques, we can peer into the microscopic world and see these demons for what they truly are: complex organisms fighting for survival. The advancements in technology have allowed us to uncover the intricate details of these parasites, revealing their true nature and life cycles. Consider the guinea worm, a parasitic nematode that infects humans through contaminated water. This parasite has plagued humanity for centuries, its life cycle intricately linked to the water sources that communities depend on. The adult female worm, which can grow up to 3 feet long, burrows through the subcutaneous tissues, causing agonizing pain as it emerges from the skin, usually on the foot or leg. This painful process, which can take weeks or even months, was a source of great fear and suffering in ancient times. This process, which can take weeks or even months, was often interpreted in ancient times as a demonic possession, with the worm itself seen as a manifestation of the evil spirit. The excruciating pain and the slow, torturous emergence of the worm were seen as the work of malevolent forces. Modern medicine, however, recognizes the guinea worm not as a demon, but as a parasite with a complex life cycle. Through scientific research and medical advancements, we have come to understand the biological mechanisms behind its life cycle and the ways it interacts with its human host. We understand that the worm's emergence from the skin is not an act of malice, but rather a necessary stage in its reproductive cycle. This knowledge has been crucial in developing strategies to combat the parasite and prevent its spread. By understanding the science behind the parasite, we can develop effective treatments and prevention strategies, breaking the cycle of infection and suffering that has plagued humanity for millennia. Education and community health initiatives play a vital role in these efforts, empowering people with the knowledge and tools to protect themselves from infection. Through continued research and collaboration, we move closer to eradicating this ancient scourge and improving the quality of life for affected communities around the world. Section 5. Echoes in the media, how modern storytelling keeps ancient fears alive. Although we live in an age of science and reason, the ancient fear of parasites, of creatures that invade our bodies and control our actions, persists. This primal fear finds expression in our stories, our movies, and our literature. From the parasitic aliens of science fiction to the mind-controlling worms of horror movies, We continue to be both fascinated and repulsed by the idea of creatures that can hijack our bodies and minds. Consider the popularity of documentaries and articles that explore the bizarre and often disturbing world of parasites. These programs often feature graphic footage of parasitic infections, showcasing the grotesque ways in which these creatures can manipulate their hosts. While these programs aim to educate, they also tap into our deep-seated fears of invasion and control, reminding us that we are not always masters of our own bodies. Even news articles reporting on scientific discoveries related to parasites often use sensationalized language, describing these creatures as mind-controlling or zombie-making. While such language may be scientifically inaccurate, it serves to capture the public's imagination and perpetuate the idea of parasites as sinister forces that threaten our very humanity. In this way, the ancient fear of demonic possession lives on, albeit disguised in the language of modern science.